Welcome to Roots to Reading. You'll find 5 books to read and lots of activities to do. Screens like this let you choose what to do. Use your controller to move the star to your choice and click on a button. You can escape from what you're doing or get help at any time by clicking on the blue button at the top of the screen. Why not choose a book now? The orange buttons on this menu are activities. You'll be told what
Cake in the tin. This is the tale of Jim and a cake in a tin on a shelf in a cupboard. The shelf was high and Jim was small, so he couldn't reach the cake in the tin, on the shelf, in the cupboard. So Jim got a table and he put it in front of the cupboard and he climbed onto it. But he couldn't reach the cake in the tin, on the shelf, in the cupboard. So Jim got a chair and he put it on the table in front of the cupboard and he climbed onto it. But he couldn't reach the cake in the tin, on the shelf, in the cupboard. So Jim got a stool and put it on the chair, on the table, in front of the cupboard, and he climbed up onto it. But he still couldn't reach the cake in the tin, on the shelf, in the cupboard. So Jim got a box and put it on the stool, on the chair, on the table, in front of the cupboard, and he climbed up onto it. And now he could reach it. Now he could reach the cake in the tin, on the shelf, in the cupboard. But then the box began to slip off the stool. The stool began to slip off the chair. The chair began to slip off the table. And Jim was falling. Down. With the cake and the tin and he landed on the floor on top of the cake.
The orange buttons on this menu are activities. You'll be
The scarecrow. A scarecrow stood in a field. He was lonely.
A robin perched on his sleeve. May I build a nest in your hat? Asked the robin. Yes, said the Scarecrow, but don't peck my head. A mouse ran up his jacket. May I make a nest in your pocket? Asked the mouse. Yes, said the Scarecrow, but don't nibble my clothes. A bee settled on his nose. May I make a nest in your boot? Asked the bee. Yes, said the Scarecrow, but don't sting my foot. And a spider moved in without asking. The Scarecrow waited for a while. Then his hat began to cheep. His pocket began to squeak. His boot began to buzz very loudly. The spiders patched his clothes with cobwebs. And the Scarecrow wasn't lonely anymore.
The orange buttons on this menu are activities.
There's a monster in my house. There's a monster in my house. Of that I'm very sure. She always seems to come alive as Mum goes out the door. She opens all the cupboards. She pulls out all the toys. She teases my young sister. She makes a dreadful noise. She climbs on all the furniture. She gets paint in her hair. And yet, as soon as Mum gets back, the monster isn't there. This monster is a special sort, the kind that Mum can't see. But my mum and little sister think the monster's really me.
The orange buttons on this menu.
Horatio Whale. Wake up, Horatio Whale. Wake up and begin your day. I'm hoping, Horatio Whale, I'm hoping you'll come my way. Swim fast, Horatio Whale. Swim fast in the deep green sea. Call out, Horatio Whale. Call out your friends and me. Make waves, Horatio Whale. Make waves all around you. Crash! Have fun, Horatio Whale. Have fun as you splish and splash. Slow down, Horatio Whale. Slow down as you swim on by. Blow bubbles, Horatio Whale. Blow bubbles up into the sky. Dive deep, Horatio Whale. Dive deep where old ships might be. Look there, Horatio Whale. Look there at the treasure. See? Hide now, Horatio Whale. Hide now where you can't be found. Be still, Horatio Whale. Be still and don't make a sound. Good night, Horatio Whale. Good night, for our day must end. Remember, Horatio Whale, remember me as your friend. Sleep well, Horatio Whale, sleep well in your dark green sea. Sweet dreams, Horatio Whale, sweet dreams to you and me.
The orange buttons on this menu are
Flower Shop Fred saves the day. On Saturday there was a Mayfair at the local school. Duncan, Flora and Fred went to the fair to sell flowers. They set up their stall and made it look very bright and colourful. The children were pleased to see Fred. Mrs. Macaroon was selling homemade cakes. Fred watched people trying to guess the weight of the biggest cake. Mr. Bubble was painting faces on balloons. Fred wanted one too. There was a tug of war going on. Fred wanted to join in the fun. He pulled and pulled at the end of the rope. The Hoopla stall was busy. Miss Loop added up the numbers and gave out the prizes. Fred wanted to go too. A sack race had begun. Fred stood nearby, watching the fun. Suddenly, Fred spotted something.
he saw a man taking Mrs. Macaroon's cake money. Fred began to chase him. Fred ran onto the cake table and knocked it over. Then he ran around Mr. Bubble and all the balloons flew into the air. Fred was still chasing the thief, but he found himself in the middle of the sack race. Fred followed the thief past the tug-of-war. The teams got tangled up in the rope and fell over. Then, at last, Fred caught the thief.
I'm sorry.
He snapped and growled fiercely as he held onto the thief's jumper with his teeth. Now everyone knew what was going on. Fred had stopped the thief. Mrs. Macaroon was very pleased. Now the fun at the fair could carry on. Flora and Duncan were very proud. Fred had saved the day.